Hey, Dr. Brett here. So I am all sweaty and everything. I was just outside chopping, and one of the kids that I coach, he sent me a text. He's feeling low, and we hopped on a call. He's a top athlete, a physical specimen, but he's been struggling in his personal life. Several girlfriends in a row that have manipulated the living jeepers out of him, which is a representative of his family system. And we've done a lot of work around that. But when his energy gets low, if he does drinks too much or does too much weed or doesn't sleep well and all that stuff, and then he winds up in a place where he gets really vulnerable and needy emotionally, and then he reaches back out to one of his exes, and then the drama begins. And so what I've been teaching him to do over time here is three basic things, especially when you're feeling vulnerable. You raise your energy. How do you raise your energy? You exercise, you meditate, and then you do things like breath work. I told him about how I put a spike through my hand last night. I was sort of like, I went unconscious, whatever. I was just rushing or whatever, and I got really down on myself. I was really bummed, and and this morning I got really, really determined to be more present and to raise my energy and not stay in that old pattern of energy when your energy gets low. All of us are vulnerable, right? So we're doing three things. We're raising our energy, we're training our mind, and we're getting creative. Now, again, raising the energy means we're going to run, exercise, do breath work, meditate. Training the mind is similar, right? When we do things like breath work and we're raising our energy that way, we're also training our mind. When we feel good, when our energy is high, we're less likely to have destructive habits, right? In his case, to turn back to a woman who's just going to create a drama and keep him from experiencing his full potential, right? And so what we're doing is, again, all the time, raising energy, training mind, again, and getting creative, right? And getting creative means, in his case, I was talking to him about how all my friends, not all of them, but some of my friends, they're flawed in some ways. All of us are flawed in some ways. It's like, one person drinks too much, the other one smokes too much, the one person, gets like weirdly inappropriate at times, and another one is, has got some weird side businesses and so on. What does that mean? It means that, why am I with people like that? Because these are people that are fucking so real. It's crazy. They're very genuine, and I'm choosing people that are genuine. Are they perfect? No. So some people are less interesting than other people, but when your energy is low and you can't bring it up, he's a top athlete. He's just in the beginning of training his mind and raising his energy, so he doesn't have, 3-4 hours a day in him for the mental game, so to speak, right? We're building that muscle. He's a physical specimen. He's been doing 4 or 5 hours a day on his body for years. We're trying to balance that out, right? So for now, maybe it's an hour of meditation and breath work, and that's about all he's got, right? Well, okay, that hour makes a big difference. And then you get creative. What does creative mean? You call a friend, or you invite people over, and maybe those people aren't perfect. Maybe they're flawed, right? But so what? If they're decent people, that is getting creative, right? We're lowering our expectations, we're getting more present, and sometimes we just need companionship, right? Unless you're really, really high, you've done a lot of personal growth work and you're really internally contained, which most people are not, then you're probably going to need some companionship. And last night my wife was available for me, which was freaking amazing, right? Because I was down, I was really frustrated with myself for going so unconscious and putting a nail through my palm there. And this one was my fault. In other instances of being injured in my past, it wasn't necessarily my fault. Sometimes shit happens, right? But in this one, I was very upset. And the old energy in my family system and the ways I was raised was really, self-critical and self-punitive. And that old energy started to run. And then I got present. I was doing breath work a little bit with my wife, and we were doing a little bit of meditation. But the connection was amazing. But I've also done my end of building that. And that's what I'm going to help this athlete do, and all the athletes I work with, right? We're always working on relationship stuff as well, because we're trying to teach people how to create and develop, really amazing relationships where you're, emotionally available for others, but you're also self-contained and you could address things in communication. So the general premise here is three things to do when you're starting to beat yourself up, or you're going to go into a bad habit. Like, some kids jerk off too much, literally. I mean, some people drink too much, they smoke too much, they call exes that are no good for them, they go back into dramas, and so on. Instead of doing that, we do three basic things. Again, we raise our energy, right? We run, we meditate, we breathe. We train our minds, right? We meditate, we practice mindfulness, we use our breath, and then we get creative, we do things differently. Hey, I'm Dr. Brett. If you like my videos, please subscribe, and we'll see you soon.